Hi everyone, it's Mark here from BCHA, the Ignite programme, and 26th of June is National Employability Day, so we thought it would be a really good idea to speak a little bit about returning to work, particularly for those people that may have been on furlough. So I'd like to speak about 4 different areas really: returning to the workplace. I'd like to also think about travelling to work and working from home, and just to touch on a little bit about employment support that is available to you. So if you're returning to the workplace, clearly there are going to be differences when you get there. Your employer will probably have special arrangements, and they would have a COVID plan to ensure that everybody is safe at work. So for example, this might be about accessing the building. You might be using different entrances or exits. The building might be laid out differently so that everybody can be observing the social distancing that's required. Think about, for example, communal areas. So if you have kitchen areas, there might be restrictions in place there. Could be that you have to bring in your own cups, your own cutlery, make sure that everything is kept clean. Maybe you have to think about where you're storing your lunch. Just these little things can make a big difference. Some organisations, they might be arranging people to work in shifts so that there aren't too many people in the building all at the same time. Could be that if you have other commitments such as childcare, it might be that you're able to arrange flexi time with your employer, so it's worth checking with them. Really, it's worth asking your manager about any reasonable adjustments that could be made to make your working life a bit easier at this time. I think when you're back in the workplace, it's important to think about personal protective equipment. So ideally your employer is going to be providing this, so they might be providing you with hand sanitizer, they might be providing you with antibacterial wipes, they might be providing you with gloves. So it's important to make sure that all the equipment that you're using is kept clean at all times. I would hope that your organisation will be going through some kind of return to work process with you, so you might be having meetings with your manager to make sure that you're aware of your responsibilities and all the special arrangements. And also, I think it's worth mentioning that after you've been out of work for a while, it could be that you are in need of some kind of support to help you return to work. So speak to your employer about that, or think about support that's available outside of the workplace to help you adjust back to a working routine. Excuse me. I'd like to think a little bit now about travelling to work. Clearly this is very different at the moment. So if it's at all possible, maybe you could go for the healthy options, travelling to work. So you might like to think about walking, if that's feasible, if the distance allows you to walk to work. You might want to think about cycling to work, another healthy option. If you don't already have a bicycle, could be that your employer makes available one of these cycle to work schemes, and that would allow you to pay for a bicycle on instalments over a period of time that's agreed with you. I think the other good thing about that is that there would be some tax benefits for you. If you're going to use public transport, think about the possibility of pre-purchasing your tickets. If you can, think about travelling off-peak so that you're not travelling with lots of people at the same time. It's worth allowing extra time to travel to work because there are lots of different arrangements in place. For example, buses and trains are operating at I think, quite a lot lesser frequency than they would normally. So it's really important to check timetables. If you can go online, have a look at the updates. See which routes are actually in operation. Some bus routes, for example, locally are not running at the moment, so it's really important to check what's available to you. On the buses, I know that to protect people, they have restricted certain seats so that everybody can be safe distance from each other. On the trains, I believe that they're running a Saturday service at the moment, so slightly reduced service. But again, to keep people safe and to allow distancing to happen, they're putting on extra carriages to accommodate people. I think a really important thing to remember at the moment is that on all public transport, face coverings are mandatory. But these don't need to be any kind of medical mask. It can be something like a scarf or a bandana. It could be that you want to make your own mask, your own covering. So I know that my colleague Alice has done a video log about this, and you can find this on the BCHA support YouTube channel. So you might want to look into that. Just a little bit about, maybe you've been on furlough and you're returning to work, but you're not actually coming into the workplace yet. So perhaps you're working from home and you haven't been doing that up till now. So it's really important to think about the equipment that you need to work from home. Have you got a laptop? Have you got a mobile phone? Have you got broadband? Have you got the right software on your devices so that you can communicate effectively with people? I think if you're working from home, it's really important, something that I found, is to make sure that you've got a nice workstation set up somewhere at home. I know most people are going to be quite limited for space, but it's important to have that little space where you can work effectively. Also, if you are working from home, I think it's really important as well to make sure that you're taking breaks as you would normally. Also, you might want to think about, again, you might have childcare commitments or other commitments. It's a good idea to speak with your employer. Is there any flexi time that's available to you? Can you arrange your day around your other commitments? Also, when we're working from home, chances are that you're going to be looking at screens probably more than you would normally. So it's really important to take care of our eyes. So make sure that you're taking plenty of breaks, resting your eyes. If you're noticing any kind of eye strain at all, then it would probably be very sensible to have a chat with your optician, book an appointment and get your eyes checked. So the final topic that I'd like to speak about is employment support. And as I mentioned earlier, ideally this would be available through your employer, but please also think of other sources of support, such as Steps to Wellbeing, which is available locally through the NHS. I'd like to also mention that if you are returning to work after being unemployed, think about all the different options available to you. Think about the work clubs available through Skills and Learning, which are currently available online or by telephone with an advisor. Also think about the organisation known as Ansbury Employment, and they have a section of their organisation known as Born Digital, Born as in Bournemouth. And they have a jobs board that you can access online with hand-picked jobs available locally. Also, if I can mention that there is an Ignite Work Club. So we're hoping that from August all our services will be returning to normal. So there would be the weekly Ignite Work Club, which happens on a Wednesday afternoon. Also, all of our Ignite courses, there's a plan for these to start happening again from August. So please get in touch with us if any of those are of interest to you. You can obviously find us via the website, or if you'd like to telephone us, please call the switchboard on 01202 410 and we'll do our best to help you. So if you've got any inquiry about either our courses or returning to work, give us a call and we'll do the best we can to assist. Meanwhile, thank you very much indeed for watching. It's been a pleasure to be with you. I hope that you're all keeping safe and that you're all keeping well. And we look forward to working with you again in the very near future.